Welcome back. Let's talk about why do employees underperform? And I'd like to know your answer to this question in the comments below. And before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to slowly grow your problem-solving skills and mindset. Now, let's get down to business. I've broken this question of why employees underperform into three separate factors, and each factor is broken into three separate parts. And today, we will specifically focus on the second part, or factor number 2. Its root causes and 2 tips to fix these root causes. And so factor number 2 is that targets are not always realistic. And not setting realistic targets mean that it is almost impossible sometimes to achieve those targets, right? Which leads to many employees even underperforming and not meeting their specific goals. Because let's face it, if you set targets too low, then you always have overachieving employees. And if the targets are too high, then you always have underperforming team members, right? And to better understand this, let's dive into the first root cause, which is the fact that while setting the same targets for a certain job title may seem fair, the employees who are filling these roles may have different experiences or know-how. So it's not very much a level playing field, because if you have someone with 20 years of experience, they may exceed certain targets, but setting the same standards for someone with 10 years of experience may not be the right move or the best possible move. But to fix this root cause, the first tip that I'll share with you today is setting every employee up for success means that leaders can strategize by setting realistic goals or targets, not based on the role, but also accounting for how well an employee can deliver based on their unique capabilities. And so when targets are set, managers should always sit down and explain what the targets are and give employees enough room to ask questions or even challenge if those targets are unrealistic for them to achieve, or even ask their leaders if they can coach them to help them achieve those targets, right? Now, let's look at the second root cause, which is the fact that if employees know they cannot attain a specific target, they should not only be honest with their leaders, but also be honest with themselves. If nothing is said, then leaders will expect from their employees, and employees will burn themselves out and miss targets. And my second tip to fix this specific root cause is, in situations where employees struggle to raise their hand, employees are responsible for their own failure or demise, because if they are not raising their hands, then leaders cannot help them. But also, leaders need to keep channels open and transparent so that employees feel comfortable speaking with their managers instead of staying silent and underperform. And these are some of the pieces that make up the second factor. Now, in part 3, we will discuss the final factor, its root causes, and 2 additional tips. But before we move forward, my question to you is, what would you do to fix the root causes we just talked about? Think about it and leave a comment below. And if you enjoyed this particular exercise, consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel to slowly grow your problem-solving mindset. I'll see you in the next exercise.